Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The effort to achieve the education well. And we cannot deny that the existence of internet is sometimes really necessary for us to achieve the goal of education. And then, however, there are several problems regarding to the connection or the internet, sometimes where we can feel that the connection is sometimes lost and something like that. Therefore, in the third cycle, the third speaker would like to talk about this kind of thing. But before that, allow me to greet our speaker today for the third one, Dr. Mohummad Kamrul Hassan, Philosophy of Doctor. Good morning, Dr. Hassan. Hello, good morning, Dr. Hassan. Yeah, I think that Dr. Hassan is still muted. I still couldn't hear your voice. Yeah. Hi, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
How are you today?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you all?
I'm doing very well. I'm so excited to listen to your materials, doctor. And then, what time is it there in Dhaka, in Bangladesh?
It's 9:18, I think.
Ah, okay, I see. So, are you ready to deliver the materials?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, but before you deliver the materials, I would like to read a bit of your curriculum vitae so that everyone here could know exactly.
Hello. Assalamu alaikum, and a very good morning from Dhaka, Bangladesh. This is Mohummad Kamrul Hassan. I'm a communication specialist, postdoctoral researcher, and consultant in NGO sector working in Bangladesh. I'm also the director of a national NGO, WEDO, Bangladesh. Apart from the project implementation for non-profit sector, my work predominantly focuses on development communication, communication for development, and rural communication services. I would like to take the opportunity to express my gratitude to the University of AHMAD and the organizing committee of the International Seminar on Education, Tech and Technology for their kind invitation to participate in this seminar. This is truly a great privilege for me to share my experience and knowledge with other participants here. The topic that I'm going to share with you is Internet Access Gap and the solution for education. Especially during COVID-19, educational institutions shifted to virtual learning to maintain access to education, while also preventing the virus transmission. At the peak of school closure, about 1.5 billion students were impacted. Governments and education actors began developing systems to deliver education remotely, and the recent data show that over 90% of education ministries worldwide have implemented remote learning approaches that involve radio, television, or the internet. However, at least 2/3 of the students are disconnected from the internet at home, which means not everyone can access online classes equally. Furthermore, it is not simply a question of whether or not students have an internet connection. Even individuals who may be considered connected have had problems demonstrating the gap between being online and having meaningful connectivity. So meaningful connectivity is very important, as I have experienced, like in my village where I was born, I observed that teachers, they don't have the capacity to deliver online classes. They have connection, they have internet, they have devices. But on the other side, students, they cannot understand the teacher because they cannot see what the teacher writing in the blackboard. So there are a lot of other factors that hindered the delivering of online classes during COVID-19. So let's see the statistics of how many students or school-going children around the world is out of internet access during the COVID-19. So therefore, UNICEF and International Union of Telecommunication 2020 conducted a worldwide study to understand the overall internet access gap among the children and youth and school-age children in the world during the pandemic. The result of the study was shocking, as you can see in the table here. Can you please go to next slide? Next slide, please. There is a table in the third slide. Yeah. So you can see that in South Asia alone, Bangladesh is in South Asia, so in South Asia alone, 768 million children and young people aged 25 years or less has no access to the internet. In the region of East Asia and Pacific, West and Central Africa, Eastern and Southern Africa, more than 300 million children and young people per region lack home internet access, totaling more than 900 million without access. Globally, the number is more than 2 billion. And as you can see, next slide, please. Globally, only 5% children and young people aged 25 years or less in West and Central Africa, and just 13% in South Asia and in Eastern Southern Africa have internet access at home, compared to 59% in Eastern Europe and Central Asia. So, next slide, please. Internet access gap between rich and poor countries. Difference in access to the internet are even severe between rich and poor countries. Among children and young people aged 25 years or less, only 6% in low-income countries have internet access at home, compared to 87% in high-income countries. Next slide, please. Internet access gap between rural and urban. A large difference is also seen globally in level of home internet access between children and young people who live in rural areas. While 25% of them have internet access, and their urban peers had 41%. And there is also access gap between poor household and rich household. Next slide, please. Socioeconomic inequalities within countries also produce notable differences in internet access. Globally, 58% of children and young people aged 25 years or less whose families are among the richest 20% in their countries have internet access at home, whereas only 16% of the children and young people from the poorest 20% of households in their countries have such access. While high-income countries have high rates of internet access, although the richest households have near universal access at 97%, only 74% of poorest household have access in the high-income countries. The gap in home internet access between children and young people aged 25 years or less from the poorest and richest household is greater in upper middle income countries, where it exceeds 50% point. In contrast, while only 2% of children and young people from the poorest houses is low-income countries have internet access at home, just 16% of their richest peers are connected, which underscores the low prevalence of internet access. And also the impact of wealth on internet access is also visible at regional level. In West and Central Africa, internet access for the poorest population is almost non-existent. In Eastern and Southern Africa, just 3% of children and young people aged 25 years or less from the poorest families have internet access at home, compared to 40% of children and young people from the richest families. The largest regional disparity in internet access due to household wealth is seen in East Asia and Pacific region, where only 23% of children and young people from the poorest household have internet access compared to more than 80% among the richest household. Therefore, considering the above data, internet access gap is visible everywhere between urban and rural, between poor and rich, high income and low income, and even poor region and rich region, etc. And the data, you can see that data is supported by empirical research. Moreover, you might be aware of the stories make headlines during the COVID-19 in the media, international media, or viral in social media, such as students set exam or attend classes in a tree to ensure good connectivity. It happened also in Bangladesh, and I read stories. It happened in India, Sri Lanka. Most of the South Asian countries, students had to, in search of better connectivity, students in rural areas forced to climb trees. And I read a story in Tamil Nadu, India, that one student fell from the tree and hurt himself while going on while he was doing online class on the tree. And they had to travel several kilometers to get connected with the online class. Teachers, on the other hand, had the similar challenges to get connected with the students. And all this data and stories from media showcase the huge internet access gap in the world. So, can you please, I forget to tell you to change the slide. I think it's understanding the concept. There is, yeah, that's this one. So, technically, the access gap in internet access gap is, technically is conceptualized as digital divide. When considering the term digital divide, the two words digital and divide come into attention and lead to the guess that the digital divide is mainly a problem of the allocation of digital system in the society. And there are many technical definitions available on the concept of digital divide, but the most popular is like inequality in the access to use and impact of digital information and communication technology among the social agent. It is directly correlated with the access to computers and other ICT, because access to the internet is not possible without them. The concept of digital divide is not only important in modern society, but also regarding developing countries. The phenomenon related to different access to ICT can be found in nearly all societies all over the world and between many societies. In these topics, we are concentrating only on internet access gap, which refers to first level digital divide, whereas difference in individuals' online skills and internet use is referred to second level digital divide. And even third level digital divide is also in the literature now. And the third level digital divide is regarding performance and the outcomes, the productivity. Okay. So access to the internet is necessary precondition of digital inclusion, but in recent years, the debate over the digital divide focus on the acquisition of online skill, which is essential to use internet effectively and efficiently. Therefore, digital divide encompasses both inequality in internet access and online skill, and also online skill, which depend on the idea that both access and skill have positive consequences and their absence have negative consequences. So let's see what consequences have in digital divide. The consequences is like the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD, in 2010 performed a study about the result of the Program for International Student Assessment Test and the use of computer in the OECD countries. The study shows that children using computer more often, computer internet more often achieve better result in the PIS study. This leads us to point that access to information and communication technology is an important means to perform well in formal as well as informal education to gain knowledge in general. As education is increasingly delivered online, those without resources to access the internet, including school children limited to remote learning during the pandemic, can be cut off from opportunities to develop their skills. As a result, children may have educational gap, and adult may miss out on job opportunities or be unable to gain the basic skill necessary to contribute to their community. The digital divide also worsens many existing forms of discrimination. One of the most widespread is gender discrimination. Women who lack equal access to the internet are unable to gain an education or information that could help them challenge their status. So digital divide affect the spread, access, and communication of knowledge. This happens because people who have access to ICT can gain and communicate their knowledge is a very fast way. People who do not have have this possibility have to use other ways which might be slower or less effective because of the missing option to reduce the information asymmetries. Evolutionary process in science will not be as fast as they are in countries or regions with higher access to ICT. In a country where ICT access is low, knowledge will be updated later. Therefore, older theories will prevail longer and may lead to less efficiency and therefore a slower development in the society. Therefore, to bridging the gap of internet access is significant not only in crisis period like COVID-19, but also in normal time. The internet access for the student and teacher is not only for attending online classes, but also to gain knowledge from the internet resources and content. Can you please change the slides? So how to overcome the digital divide or how to bridge the gap? The digital divide, I think, the next slide, how to overcome the digital divide. Yeah, the digital divide is not merely a technology, but a social challenge. And the key question of how to tackle it centers on the context-dependent issues. Since the potential application of ICT are diverse, the strategies aimed at tackling this diverse challenge must be diverse as well. There is no panacea. There is no one-way solution. So bridging this digital divide needs robust and vibrant national policies to overcome the digital divide or bridge the gap of internet access in education sector. So national strategies in the context of digital device is a kind of action plans or strategies plans designed by government to guide action on ICT, and often the allocation of resources over a specific period of time and towards the fulfillment of a policy objective of ICT. So there should be national level master plan to develop information society So it's very important to develop information society in every country. Like it's like progress to information technologies and communication is changing the way we live, how we work and do business, how we educate our children, study and do research, train ourselves, and how we are connected or entertained. The information society is not only affecting the way people interact, but it is also requiring the traditional organizational culture or structure to be more flexible, more participatory, and more decentralized. For example, there should be national goal of digital. Like for example, Singapore released its Smart Nation 2025 blueprint. Indonesia and Malaysia released strategies to go digital. And Bangladesh released its Digital Bangladesh blueprint, and Thailand announced its vision to become a digital hub in Asia. So these are the national strategies or goals. And I think most of the countries, they already have existing national plan or action plan on ICT, and I think they need to concentrate on more on education sector now, include the educational sector now in their national. There should be specific policy for education sector after the after what we learned from the last pandemic. So the ICT service should be demand driven service. ICT service should be demand driven. It means to what what people ask for, need for, and value so much. This is because every context is unique, and need of ICT service is not equal everywhere. Like therefore, the service should be delivered according to the need of that particular area. For instance, in some area, there could be network or broadband facility to access to the internet. But there might be lack of devices, or in an area there could be device and network, but the user don't have the necessary skill to utilize the facilities. Therefore, capacity building is necessary for the area. So, excuse me. Capacity building of the stakeholder is indispensable so that they can define their need to ensure demand-driven service delivery. For instance, a study conducted by Ayana Matsuda in Bangladesh 2021 revealed that some students experience power shortage to run their devices during online class. I mean, they have internet connection, they have devices, and they have necessary skills, but there was power shortage in that particular rural area. So therefore, it's not always internet connection, but there are other associate factors that hinder, that enhance the digital divide. So emphasis should be given more on decentralization, to more democratization in decision-making process. Active participants from various stakeholders should be encouraged in the planning process, and representation from the sector, such as teachers, students, should be ensured to include more bottom-up approach. I work in an NGO, say, so it's like, in an NGO, there are factors like, when we do, design project, we do it according to the need of the donor agencies, not according to the need of the beneficiaries. So, like in education sector, planning or ICT planning, ICT strategy should be not only doing alone by the government officials. There should be participation from the teachers and the students, or other stakeholders, other experts from education sector. So, and decentralization approach should be followed in ICT policy implementation. There should be local government level committee who can plan and implement ICT related activities. For example, there could be district or sub-district level ICT committee where all the stakeholders could be member, and they could take collective decision to implement the policy. And government should finance more in like public-private partnership, and should concentrate on multi-stakeholder approach and collaboration, and like finance project which aim at the use of information technology, and public-private partnership project should be emphasized, and multi-stakeholders and collaboration should be mandated to ensure coordinated process of resource sharing to active joint goals. Like, if we work collaboratively in a specific area, there could be resource limitation. So if all the stakeholders work together, they could share their resources, and therefore there should be more decentralization and less hierarchical, requiring more mutual exchange of resources where there is resource limitation, especially in communication network internet service, and ICT application. Like in few years ago in Bangladesh, I heard that where there is one company has mobile tower in a specific areas, so other companies they can share that specific mobile tower. So it's like that, and we should promote more local content. So local content in local language is needed to ensure, in some cases, to overcome language barrier. Because most of the internet contents are written in English, mostly in English, and many parts of the area, especially in rural areas in Bangladesh, people don't know how to speak in English. The student also, they are weak in English, so they cannot understand the content of the internet. And the software the software should open source, so that there will be less cost to buy license, and user from developing countries should get the service in low price. Like in Zoom, they have only 40 minutes of free time. So there should be different discount option for the third world countries or the developing countries. The educational context such as journals, papers, ebooks should be free for the certain countries or geographical location to access for the equal distribution of knowledge, or the government institution, educational institution should subsidize the service for the students, like that. Can you please change the slide? Furthermore, we need to address the following questions. It's like how to get greater access to device for average students or citizens, how to improve the skills and training necessary to make use of the device, how to foster a culture of innovation, especially in the development of local content, how to overcome gender and other biases in development countries. First, so for greater access, it requires government policies that encourage competition in domestic telecom market, the removal of tax on mobile and other ICT devices, and ensuring minimal access standards, developing broadband plans, careful spectrum policies, increasing the number of local ISPs, and specific region can move towards a single IT space. It's like that, and to improve the skill and training, addressing digital, need to address the
Dr. Hassan, I'm so sorry. You have 5 minutes left.
Better understanding of the benefits of the
Dr. Hassan.
Holistic approach to skill development strategy.
Excuse me, Dr. Hassan.
IT education or skill could be embedded in school curriculums. And
excuse me, Dr. Hassan.
Yes.
Yeah, you have 5 minutes left.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for reminding me.
I'm so sorry. Thank you so much.
No. It's okay. No problem. So the third question was that address the how to tackle innovation and local content. For that, locally appropriate, holistic, and smart community-based policy should be developed, and social and community-based network could be set up for the student. It's like so. So that's all. Thank you so much because time is running up. So thank you so much for this nice opportunity. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Please applause for Dr. Hassan, everybody. Well, so the presentation is mostly about the internet access gap and the solution for education, all right? And there are several points that was being delivered by Dr. Hassan, especially about how to solve the problem is like by improving the public services, how to build the public-private partnership, and also open sources as well as open the innovation, right? So after listening to a very interesting presentation, I would like to proceed to the Q&A session. However, unfortunately, because of the limitation of the time, we will only have one question from the participant. I would like to give the opportunity for those who are here attending this seminar offline. So anyone would like to raise a question? Yeah, we've got one here.